across the south like today, whereas further north there will again be a lot of cloud around, still producing outbreaks of rain through the night, especially in western Scotland. Those yellowy colours there suggesting the rain at times will be fairly heavy, quite breezy here too, but with the cloud and the breeze and the rain it will be a mild night. Further south with some breaks in the cloud, in rural spots we could dip down to single figures. Could also allow a bit of mist and fog to form for Thursday morning, but that should clear away. The rain though is going to linger across western Scotland, probably not too heavy through the morning, but it will pep up again later in the day, and we do have a Met Office yellow warning in place. The rain really building up through this week could cause a bit of disruption, potential for some flooding. Patchy rain across Northern Ireland initially, that is also going to turn heavier. Most of England and Wales having a cloudy but dry start. As I mentioned, maybe some mist and fog through the morning rush hour, but it should clear away. The rain is going to get heavier through Northern Ireland during the morning and then through the afternoon spread into western Scotland. So again, the potential for some disruption from that wet weather. The Moray Firth may well stay completely dry and the rain will be fairly light and patchy in Edinburgh. England and Wales by and large staying dry, brightening up too with some sunshine. We could see 21 degrees Celsius, but we'll see some rain scooting through England and Wales Thursday night and into Friday, clearing away to reveal something a bit drier for a time. But look at this. This is Storm Amy, bringing rain into the northwest later on Friday, and the winds also continuing to strengthen. A windy night Thursday night, but it gets even windier on Friday night as Storm Amy moves in. Look at the isobars. There's a number of weather warnings in place. Do check out the Met Office warning for details on that. But this storm system could cause some problems into the weekend.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight. Victory for GBNews as the French clear a huge illegal migrant camp. And
well, honestly, I was speechless when I woke up to your voice. Now you told me how you'd been feeling. Let's look at
Ed Miliband's put your bills up again, but this is all he really cares about.
Elon Musk.
Get the hell out of our politics and our country.
Also tonight,
meet the jobless Phillips family, who have lived off state benefits for the last 20 years.
There's nothing to encourage me to go back to work. I'd just rather lie in bed and do nothing.
Is lifting the two-child benefit cap a reward for people who keep having kids they can't afford? And
I want to be clear too. If something were to happen to Nigel, heaven forbid, God forbid, we will hold the Prime Minister responsible.
Why has the Labour-run Home Office reduced Nigel Farage's security and then started saying things like this?
I will leave it for the public to come to their own judgments about someone who once flirted with Hitler Youth when he was younger. That is for the public.
I mean, he did retract that, but still. Plus,
none of the defendants have shown the slightest remorse for what they have put the survivors through. By maintaining their denials and refusing to accept responsibility.
A Pakistani rape gang ringleader has been jailed for 35 years. Plus,
well, you're not having it! So be stupid and get into bed!
babies can now be born with two fathers and no mother. Is that ethical? On my panel tonight, we have got the director of the Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. We've got Reform Councillor Jamie McIver and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Oh, and I think we can do this live, can we? Let's have a look. Wait. There we go. We've got some live images here of Greta Thunberg's Gaza Flotilla being intercepted by Israeli soldiers. Again, look at that. Hang on a second. They're actually on the ship, are they? Is that the Israeli... Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm sorry, but that is what you get if you try to sail towards a jihadi war zone trying to give them a tin of beans. Anyway, there we go. Good luck, Greta. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. It's time to talk about how weird Ed Miliband is. Next.
Very good evening to you from the newsroom just after 9 o'clock. Well, we start with that breaking news off the coast of Israel, where an international aid flotilla, including 50 boats carrying some 500 people, says it has been illegally intercepted after Israeli naval forces boarded several ships heading towards Gaza. As you can see there, activists on board, including Greta Thunberg, say that cameras were cut earlier with some live streams showing crew on deck. We can take a look now at those scenes on board those boats where a number of people are wearing life jackets. The status at this stage of those on board still unclear. Moments before, we also saw crew posting videos online of Israeli vessels ordering them to turn off their engines and change course. Well, in a statement, the Israeli military have warned that flotilla that it is approaching an active combat zone and violating a naval blockade. But one spokesperson telling the Navy, "You're not allowed to stop us. The world is watching." Well, we've also got a statement in from the Italian Foreign Ministry suggesting that that interception could take some 2 to 3 hours. So do stay with us throughout the rest of this evening for more developments. Also breaking tonight, the head of the Metropolitan Police Force has apologised for what he described as reprehensible behaviour by officers at Charing Cross Police Station, revealed in a new Panorama investigation.
I understand the people of London are going to be really upset by this. Some it will cause to question the trust they hold the police in. And we depend on that trust so much because without it we can't succeed in keeping them safe.
Sir Mark Rowley there saying 9 officers have been suspended, with most likely to face dismissal within weeks. The police watchdog has launched its own inquiry into claims of racism, misogyny, anti-Muslim sentiment and use of excessive force. The London Mayor says he's also disgusted and appalled, backing the Commissioner's pledge of zero tolerance. The entire custody team has now been disbanded as urgent reforms are rolled out across the force. French police have raided and destroyed a migrant warehouse in Calais, filmed just weeks ago by the team here at GBNews. The so-called Orange Squat was home to more than 100 young Sudanese men and had become a flashpoint for violence near the French port. It comes as channel crossings this year have now surpassed 34,000. At the weekend, nearly 1,300 migrants made the journey, including a record 125 on a single boat. The Home Secretary says the crossings are utterly unacceptable and removals have now begun. A Rochdale grooming gang has been jailed today for a total of 174 years. The ringleader, Mohammed Zaid, a father of 3, was sentenced to 35 years for raping 2 schoolgirls. He lured the girls with money, alcohol and food, treating them as sex slaves from the age of just 13. He was one of 7 men convicted in June of sexual offences committed between 2001 and 2006. And Jane Goodall, the world-famous wildlife advocate and chimpanzee expert, has sadly died today at the age of 91. One of the most influential scientists of the modern era, Goodall's pioneering research transformed science, showing chimpanzees use tools and share complex social behaviours. She became a household name and a tireless advocate for conservation, later appointed a UN messenger of peace. That's the news on GB News. A full roundup from me at 10. Now, though, it's over to Patrick.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Good evening. I think it's time to talk about what an odd bloke Ed Miliband is.
Well, honestly, I was speechless when I woke up to your voice. Now you told me how you'd been feeling. Let's look at...
Today, he gave his big speech at Labour conference and he unleashed yet another unhinged attack on Nigel Farage and Elon Musk.
See, the truth is, I wish Nigel Farage was just the snake oil Tory city boy we've known about for years. He's actually morphed into something even more dangerous. He's now a key part of a global network, Elon Musk. He incites violence on our streets. He calls for the overthrow of our elected government. He's an enabler of disinformation through X.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Given that Labour has spent all week talking about this.
He doesn't like Britain. Doesn't believe in Britain.
Nigel Farage is a snake oil salesman.
The plastic patriots in reform.
The single greatest threat is the agenda of Nigel Farage.
We must call his scheme racist.
It's all been about racism, hasn't it? Racism, racism, racism. And here's Ed Miliband's message to a foreigner he doesn't like, whose grandma was actually born in Liverpool, by the way.
Elon Musk.
Get the hell out of our politics and our country.
Gosh, well, here's what Ed Miliband wants you to believe that he's done well.
10,000 new jobs at Sizewell C. Investing in Rolls-Royce small modular reactors. Funding for carbon capture and storage in all corners of Britain. The biggest investment in clean energy in British history. The onshore wind ban lifted. Enough solar to power 2 million homes. Ending the scandal of the mine workers' pension scheme.
Yeah, unfortunately for Mr Miliband, quite a bit of that is absolute rubbish. Under Miliband, British people are paying the highest electricity prices in the world. And your bills are going up again today. Energy bills are 68% higher than they were in the winter of 2020 to 2021. Ed Miliband proudly said that he wanted to ban fracking.
Friends, got a message for you. We sent those frackers packing. I say, let's ban fracking and vow to send this bunch of frackers packing too.
Oh my gosh, honestly. Anyway, he's wasted £1 billion on wind turbines that we can't switch on. So what does he want to do? Build 1,000 more of them. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But then again, when it comes to insanity, with Ed Miliband, there were signs.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
Ed Miliband, the Fitzrovia-born millionaire son of a Marxist so-called intellectual, is helping to make working-class people unemployed. Thousands of people have lost their jobs in steel, gas, and just the other day, a third of the workforce at the Lindsay oil refinery lost their jobs. He mentioned solar panels. Well, initially, he wanted them to be made in China, even though that meant that they could have been built by slaves. Talking of China, Ed Miliband is refusing to publish the details of a net zero cooperation agreement he signed with the Chinese government. Gosh, I wonder why that is, Ed. He mentioned Great British Energy. What is it? Does anyone know what it does? What I do know is that you, the taxpayer, have spent £8.3 billion on it. Ed Miliband was humiliated when he stood to be Prime Minister.
But am I tough enough? Tough enough? Hell yes, I'm tough enough.
He was humiliated some more.
Thank you.
And he was humiliated a little bit more. There he is, the Ed Stone. Gosh, do you remember that? How have we ended up with this guy in charge of our household bills and our energy policies? Look, I could go on all day about how awful I think Ed Miliband and this Labour government are. But here's a clip of him today, OK? He was smearing reform, but I think he's actually really quite accurately describing a Labour government better than I ever could.
They're the investment-crushing, job-destroying, bill-raising, poverty-driving, science-denying, Putin-appeasing, young people-betraying bunch of ideological extremists.
Yeah, you are, Ed. You absolutely are. He should be nowhere near government. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. Got Director of the Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. We've got Reform UK Councillor Jamie McIver and Nina Mishkov, the broadcaster and journalist as well. Right, Mark, so, I mean, Ed Miliband, is he a very odd guy? And are we fair to raise questions about whether or not he is suitable to be at that level of politics?
Look, he is a bit odd and quirky, isn't he? But let me try and muster some sort of defence for him. I don't really mind quirky, eccentric people being involved in politics. I think it's rather endearing in some ways. I mean, what the heck that TikTok video was about, with him just walking and posing, God only knows who that was for. So he does seem a bit odd, in my view. But I care much more about his politics and his policies, which are disastrous. He is a net zero zealot. It is not entirely his fault that energy prices are 4 times as high here as they are in America, but he is certainly exacerbating that rather than moving against it. He is an ideologue. I think more who latches onto specific causes like carbon net zero. That's why he's completely blinkered on the point. And, you know, in my view, he has not done his job particularly well. And if you have people of that bent in high office in government, expect growth to be slow, expect bills to go up, expect working people to get poorer. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's on that point, Jamie. So today, people's energy bills have gone up again. I think that's the 3rd or 4th time that's happened under Labour now. They did say they had a fully costed plan to make sure that never happened. And also, loads of people are unemployed as a result of their policies.
Well, we all know Labour don't care about working people. We know that by all the actions, the decisions they've made since the minute Starmer walked into number 10. But what I find very odd about Ed Miliband is normally when a politician makes a comeback, it's through popular demand of the people and they're seen as the answer to the problems. And I think that's why Nigel will be Prime Minister. When you look at Ed Miliband, he was unpopular as leader of the Labour Party. His own party didn't back him. He was unpopular as a Member of Parliament. I've actually been to his constituency and campaigned, and he is really unpopular there too. I don't understand why people in the Labour Party rate him, frankly, but we know that he is a man that is obsessed with ideology, and what frustrates me so much about politicians is when they refuse to accept reality. Ed Miliband is one of those people that doesn't accept reality.
But that's a good point. Do you think he lives in reality? Because I look at this guy, and I'm sorry, you know, I do think that there's something very weird about him.
I am no huge fan, partially because he shafted his brother and we got the wrong Miliband. So that I can never forgive him for. And never mind the bacon sandwich, you know, he can't eat a bacon sandwich without looking like an idiot. I think he is a man that is obsessed with ideology, and what frustrates me so much about politicians is when they refuse to accept reality. Ed Miliband is one of those people that doesn't accept reality. But that's a good point. Do you think he lives in reality? Because I look at this guy, and I'm sorry, you know, I do think that there's something very weird about him. I am no huge fan, partially because he shafted his brother and we got the wrong Miliband. So that I can never forgive him for. And never mind the bacon sandwich, you know, he can't eat a bacon sandwich without looking like an idiot. let's just talk about reality. You're talking about the bills going up. The bills are going up by 2%, which is about £35 a year. OK, that's less than £1 a week, so that's hardly huge. You implied that you said that they'd gone up since 2021 by a vast amount. Now, they went up in 2022 because Russia invaded Ukraine. They went up in April 2022 and in October about 48% and 68%. So that huge rise has not come under the Labour government. Let's just get that straight. I can see you're trying to check my facts.
No, I'm not checking facts. There's an additional fact I would like to outline here, which is that shoppers are now facing an extra £1.6 billion price hike thanks to, quote, Red Ed's net zero tax. So this is the thing, it's OK to say, oh, well, the energy bills may be only going up 35 quid, but they've gone up before, and they're going to keep going up by the looks of things, and it's a knock-on effect as well to consumers, so it does go up.
Well, they say that the rise, the 2% rise, is partially to offset the warm homes discount, which is to help deprived families.
Yeah, but the problem here, Nina, I mean, I'm not going to question your statistics, is once your energy prices have got to ridiculous levels, whoever's fault that was, it should be relatively simple to get them down, not another 2% up. I think if we manage to, let's say, halve our energy costs rather than actually cutting them by a factor of 4, it might then be tougher to catch up with the USA.
I agree with you.
But getting them from this ludicrously high level down a few percent, not up another 2 on top of all the pain so far, but down 10, 15, 20, 25, that should be simplicity.
I agree. If we had the infrastructure,
thinking energy sector.
If we had the infrastructure, but the trouble is the Conservatives did not build the nuclear reactors that we needed them to build.
We could go drill in the North Sea and we could go fracking.
If you compare them to France, France has nuclear, France has wind, both of those things.
Yes, quite. But what we've got here now is a bloke who wants to go full wind, wasted £1 billion a year on wind turbines that we couldn't turn on, which is a massive problem, and now he wants to build 1,000 more of them, and also did not seem to have much of a problem initially with getting Chinese-made solar panels potentially built by slaves.
And forget, Patrick, the numbers, forget the bills, forget all of that. Just look at the actual product. Ugliness on the landscape, whether that's solar panels,
I like
wind
them.
turbines.
I love wind turbines.
And
they're majestic.
When it's too windy, the wind turbines don't work.
Yeah.
This is an incompetent man with a serious level of office. And you talk about it's only £30 a year. There are families that haven't got a penny. They are at food banks.
So if they're at food banks and on benefits, they'll get the warm home discount.
Anything that sees bills go up is a no-go. We know we've got plenty of oil in the North Sea. We need to drill.
The highest electricity bills in the world, Nina.
Listen,
in the world.
I think we should have a hybrid system, and I think we should have a hybrid system that keeps us going until the others can kick in. And I understand that the other members of the cabinet are persuading Miliband that that he can row back on something. There's something called tie-in, where you use the current structure to not to give new.
But good luck with that. Because I think he there said that, there are a bunch of ideologues who's talking about reform. I mean, goodness gracious me, have a look in the mirror, Ed. I mean, this is what that's about. But when it comes to this sort of highest electricity bills in the world, do you think he cares? Because for all this talk that they're trying to smear Nigel Farage as, he was, went to a public school, a city boy and all of that stuff. Not being funny, but the millionaire son of a so-called Marxist intellectual who was born in Fitzrovia, I'm not convinced that Ed Miliband understands the impact that an extra bit of cash every month on your energy bills is having on my viewers and listeners.
Or it could be even worse than that, Patrick. He might think that his Wizard Wheeze scheme is going to suddenly come good any day now. And in a year or two's time, energy bills will be falling. I think he is so ideological he thinks that. The way we've got to get out of the energy problem in Britain is actually not just Ed Miliband. We've got to stop politicians running it. Energy companies think they can frack for profit and think they can drill in the North Sea for profit. I trust them more than I trust any politician to make the decisions.
Quickly, what about that thing there about, Elon Musk, get the hell out of our politics and get the hell out of our country?
Well, Elon Musk should not be beamed in on a rally in London
Why?
Well, inciting people to violence, saying fight, fight, fight.
No. This is such a terrible thing to say. Let's be very clear. The reason why people in this country are calling on Elon Musk is because this country has lost freedom of speech.
Calling on Elon Musk
believes in it, and it says a lot about the government, doesn't it? That one of the most successful business people in the world is not welcome in Britain. That sums up this government.
Listen, hang on a minute.
All of these Labour politicians intervened in the US elections.
To violence.
We all heard how Donald Trump needed to be stopped by every one of these senior Labour people making pronouncements left, right, and centre.
They did not beam into a rally in the US.
They sent activists over there to campaign for the other side.
And so did the Conservatives. They always have done.
Nina, if that's the case, then Diane Abbott was inciting violence today. Are you going to accept that towards the Pink Ladies because of what she was saying? Do you accept that Diane Abbott was inciting violence today?
She didn't. Tell me exactly what she said.
She said something on the lines of, we've got to fight these people to the end, or words to that effect.
Oh, well, that's a different kind of fight. It is different. It is the way it was couched. It was the way it was couched. You know very well that is different. You're just being disingenuous.
Well, we've got time to talk about this a little bit later on, because we are going to be talking about how the Home Office has decided to remove 75% of Nigel Farage's security at exactly the same time they started making references to him being Hitler. But anyway, there we go. It's time now for our Great British Giveaway. Your chance to win a massive motorhome and loads of cash. Here's how.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof light, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, well, look, still to come, we are going to be talking about the latest case where a Pakistani grooming gang ringleader has been sentenced to 35 years in prison. When will this end, hey? But we're also going to be talking a bit about this. Yes, so is this scrapping of the 2-child benefit cap by Labour going to be rewarding people who keep wanting to have kids they can't afford? And by the way, when I come back, we've got Greta Thunberg's Gaza vanity flotilla has been boarded by the Israelis. We've got some live shots we're going to show you. Apparently they're all sitting there with their hands up at the minute and all of that stuff. So bad luck, Greta. Anyway, stay tuned.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel. Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. These are live images from Greta Thunberg's vanity trip to Gaza, where the Gaza Flotilla has been boarded by the Israeli Defense Forces as it approached the Gaza Strip. There's multiple different live feeds that you're looking at there. So, yeah, I mean, is there sound on this? Can we listen into it? Yeah, well, let's just see what's happening. Why not? Yeah, a bit garbled, isn't it? Yeah, a bit hard to say what they're doing. But, yeah, anyway, so it looks like Greta Thunberg. Shock horror, everybody. Now, I know we all thought this was going to happen, but no, shock horror. It looks as though Greta Thunberg is not going to be able to sail a flotilla into the Gaza Strip and then hand out tins of beans to the people of Gaza. So, yeah, I know, it's a shock to us all, but the Israelis have decided to stop that from happening. So, good stuff. Anyway, before we get stuck into some of the other topics today, I wanted to do this. So, Labour are potentially going to scrap the two-child benefit cap. Is it rewarding people for having kids they can't afford? It's time for the head-to-head. Reports suggest that the Chancellor is going to scrap the two-child benefit cap, replace it with a tapered system, and that's at the budget in November. The cap, which limits families to claiming benefits for their first two children only, was brought in by the Tory government in 2017. But it's become a source of political tension for the Prime Minister. Weeks after entering office, he suspended 7 Labour MPs for rebelling against the government over that cap. But reports today suggest that the Chancellor will now introduce a tapered system instead, with families receiving less in benefits for every child they have. Tonight I am asking, though, is it rewarding people who want to keep having kids they can't afford? Going head-to-head on this now are the former Tory Special Advisor James Price and the political commentator Nicky Hodgson. Thank you very much. Tremendous to have you both on the show. James, what do you think? Is it rewarding people for having kids they can't afford?
Yeah, I think this is not a moral action to do. We already have a very progressive and very generous welfare benefit system. What happens is rich people make lots of money, they get taxed a huge amount of that money, much more so than in lots of other places, and the richer you get, the more you get taxed. That money then goes to spend on hospitals and roads and schools and things like that. But the biggest line item is in benefits for people. So we already, for people that don't work or can't work, we're very generous. We're then very generous again when it comes to people having children, even if they can't afford to look after those children themselves. And we do that up to 2 children, which, by the way, is more than the UK's average, what they call TFR, total fertility rate. So we're already more generous than the kind of average in the country is already. And I just don't think it's right that people who are working every hour God sends, being taxed more than they have been at any point since the Second World War, should have some more of that money taken away from them to give to people who can't afford to look after their own children. You know, I know that you just had a child recently, and you know, would you be right to say that you probably thought long and hard about whether it was the right time and whether you had the money to do it? And those are the kind of conversations that couples do. And many people are putting off having children because they don't feel they can afford to have them, and yet the government's going to take their money to give it to others.
All right, Nikki, I want your take on this then. What's your views?
Well, I've always been amazed that Conservatives have such an issue with this when it's really about the quality of life of children. It's really about the sanctity of childhood. And also it's really short-sighted economically, because if you don't bring up children properly in the first place, if they're in poverty, they go on to have terrible life outcomes and contribute to all kinds of problems that we already have in society, potentially becoming even more burdensome to the state. So you know, when this was first introduced by George Osborne, there was high hopes for it. It has barely affected the birth rate, and it certainly hasn't got parents back into work. And also, it's really important to say that 59% of people that are affected by this are already working. This isn't people that just think, oh, I'll have another kid so I get a bit more money for a bigger TV. It's nothing like that.
OK, James, is there... I don't know, unless I got this wrong. If someone is earning a decent salary and they, you know, can basically afford to have 2 kids, definitely, but then they go on to have the 3rd or 4th, they'll still basically be expected to pay for all their own. But this is only just more help for people who already couldn't afford to have the kids they've got and who want to have more, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And look, I've got sympathy with everything that Nicky's just said there. The way that you help out those children, though, is you get the economy going. The only thing that's going to work is to have a strong and growing economy, which obviously I could be party political and say that Labour have not managed to do at any point, and growth has been flatlining and all the rest of it. And I think people watching this channel know just how badly Reeves has done a job of that. But that's how you would get this going again. You would take off all the restrictions on businesses, take off some of the taxes, let people keep some more of their own money and make some of those decisions themselves. And if we're talking, and this is going to be a slightly controversial point, but if we're talking about getting the kind of the birth rate up, you do want to make sure that those are going to be children born into loving families. They can look like all kinds of things, but you want to make sure that it's the sort of that the people who are having children are people who are those who are capable of looking after them. And already, if you've got people that can't look after or pay for 2 children already, I would suggest that perhaps those are people that should be focusing on those 2 children, where there are lots of other couples who think, I can't even afford to have any kids, maybe I can just about afford to have 1. And those are people we should be helping with economic growth as well.
All right, Nicky, I'll let you come back to that, but there is also a political point to this, isn't there, which is that Keir Starmer suspended, I think it was 7 Labour MPs for opposing this, and then now he's going to do it by the looks of things. So that looks a bit chaotic anyway, doesn't it? And we've recently had Rachel Reeves unable to get welfare reforms through. So in November, we're going to get the budget. We don't exactly know what it is yet, but we're going to end up paying more tax for something, and that's going to be going to fund stuff like this, isn't it? Is this just going to drive his popularity into the gutter even more, do you think?
No, I don't think it is. It's the morally appropriate thing to do. And just to come back to James's point, what a load of rubbish about saying that people can't look after their kids because they've fallen on hard times. This is often what happens. People are earning good wages or decent wages, can look after the children they've got, and then contraception fails, they have another baby, and perhaps they lose their job, right? So, you know, it's completely boggling to me that a Conservative would actually put that forward. You know, why don't we just introduce mandatory vasectomies for people that earn below a certain income threshold? That would solve the problem.
Right, I've gone, James.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is a slightly facetious point there. The point is that if you want to go down that route, why is it that we have such a massively redistributive welfare system at all? Because we're already being very, very generous. Huge amounts of money are redistributed from people who earn lots of money onto those who can't help themselves already, and we're all very fine with that. But I think that having a lift of this cap is taking the mick somewhat when you've got the highest levels of taxes ever and rich people are fleeing the country already.
Well, we'll see if she does announce announce it. All the noises are that she probably is going to announce it. It seems to be being rolled out, doesn't it? So we'll see. We'll see how popular it is. I mean, I am conscious to say that I think Reform want to do basically the same thing as well, so that could be quite interesting at the next election. Anyway, that's former Tory Special Advisor James Price and the political commentator Nicky Hodgson. Thank you both of you. Great stuff. Right, still to come. Bizarre story this, but our political editor, Christopher Hope, he was on a train back from Labour Party conference and it was brought to a grinding halt after some thuggish behaviour from children, supposedly. So he's going to be talking to us about that. Apparently there was an attack on the train. But before that...
And I want to be clear too, if something were to happen to Nigel, heaven forbid, God forbid, we will hold the Prime Minister responsible.
Did the Home Office reduce Nigel Farage's security just days before the Prime Minister smeared him as a racist and David Lammy made references to the Hitler Youth? But up next, scientists have created human eggs from skin. Now, that might not sound like much, but what it means is that you can now have children with two fathers and no mother. Is that immoral? Stay tuned.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
We've seen some pretty heavy rain around the Mediterranean this week. It's going to stay pretty wet and quite windy across Greece. Meanwhile, the rain clearing away from Italy and the Balkans. A few showers coming into the Canary Islands, the odd one close to Barcelona, but the Balearics turning drier after some thunderstorms earlier, along with the Balkans and Italy as the rain clears away here during Thursday. But setting up across Greece, some heavy downpours and gusty winds through Thursday and Friday. Looking drier, though, in Santorini for the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A storm is brewing out in the Atlantic. Storm Amy will arrive on Friday night and linger into Saturday morning. In the meantime, a largely fine day to come tomorrow across the south like today, whereas further north there will again be a lot of cloud around, still producing outbreaks of rain through the night, especially in western Scotland. Those yellowy colours there suggesting the rain at times will be fairly heavy. Quite breezy here too, but with the cloud and the breeze and the rain, it will be a mild night. Further south with some breaks in the cloud. In rural spots we could dip down to single figures. Could also allow a bit of mist and fog to form for Thursday morning, but that should clear away. The rain, though, is going to linger across western Scotland. It's probably not too heavy through the morning, but it will pep up again later in the day, and we do have a Met Office yellow warning in place. The rain really building up through this week. Could cause a bit of disruption, the potential for some flooding. Patchy rain across Northern Ireland initially. That is also going to turn heavier. Most of England and Wales having a cloudy but dry start. As I mentioned, maybe some mist and fog through the morning rush hour, but it should clear away. The rain is going to get heavier through Northern Ireland during the morning and then through the afternoon spread into western Scotland. So again, the potential for some disruption from that wet weather. The Moray Firth may well stay completely dry and the rain will be fairly light and patchy in Edinburgh. England and Wales by and large staying dry, brightening up too with some sunshine. We could see 21 degrees Celsius, but we'll see some rain scooting through England and Wales Thursday night and into Friday, clearing away to reveal something a bit drier for a time. But look at this. This is Storm Amy, bringing rain into the northwest later on Friday, and the winds also continuing to strengthen. A windy night Thursday night, but it gets even windier on Friday night as Storm Amy moves in. Look at the isobars. There's a number of weather warnings in place. Do check out the Met Office warning for details on that. But this storm system could cause some problems into the weekend.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Oh, this is live from the Gaza Flotilla, where you can see Greta Thunberg and co have all got their hands up. The Israelis are boarding the Gaza Flotilla. So, in case you're wondering what this is, Greta Thunberg and a load of other people decided that they wanted to sail towards Gaza and hand humanitarian aid over to Hamas, or sorry, the people of Gaza. And Jeremy Corbyn's tweeted about this. He's fuming. He says, history will side with the flotilla. Israel has illegally intercepted the global Sumud flotilla. The disgraceful assault is a flagrant breach of international law, and it's an affront to our common human decency. And it's a further denigration of the Palestinian people who are being starved to death by Israel. Well, I'm not sure how much food they have with them, but I think last time they ended up in a situation where the Israelis did take basically a few tins of beans, what looked like a big shop from Asda, basically, took that from the boats, gave it to the people of Gaza, and then handed Greta Thunberg an Israeli-made sandwich, which presumably she ate and possibly tasted lovely. So anyway, there you go. These are live scenes from the Gaza Flotilla. Israel has intercepted them. More on that later. But first, in a world-first breakthrough, scientists in the US now say that babies can be born without a biological mother. Two dads. Researchers at the Oregon Health and Science University have successfully created human eggs from skin cells. Then you fertilise them with sperm to grow embryos in a lab. The process could mean same-sex male couples having a child that's genetically both of theirs. I just think this is a little bit morally wrong and part of the erasure of women. But I'm joined now by a women's rights campaigner, Helen Gibson. Helen, is it immoral?
Good evening, Patrick. Yes, it's completely immoral, and it's also really dystopian and really bad for children and really bad for women. And we actually wrote to the government last July, raising awareness with them that this was happening, this is coming, and we didn't get much of an acknowledgement back in response, acknowledging any of our points about how serious this would be if it comes into being for women and children. So we're raising the alarm now, because while the embryos have been successfully created, the embryos themselves weren't healthy enough to implant. And so in that sense, there's been a scientific failure, but there is an arms race taking place to bring this forward, largely backed up by big companies in Silicon Valley, and they're determined to make this happen here. And we believe it will be here in 10 years' time. And crucially, the HFEA, who regulate the fertility sector in this country, also met in January to say they think it's coming too. So this is on the way.
So this is coming to Britain. So we're going to be in Britain where you don't need women anymore.
So at the moment, those cells, those gametes, would not be clinically allowed to be used here. But what we're saying is they will be developed abroad within the decade. And when that happens, we don't want those gametes to be able to be imported into Britain, to be used here. And we don't want anyone from Britain going abroad to use them either. It may well be at first a small pool of people who go off and do this, whether it's men to create a genetic child without a woman or an older woman who's got no eggs left. But we think it will be coming, and we want government to take a firm stance that says this is unacceptable. It would be deeply cruel to be a child conceived without a genetic female parent or a mother.
Okay, why? I've got to ask this. You know, so why would it be cruel for the child?
Well, imagine the psychological burden, if you would, Patrick, of being one of only a few, perhaps 100 children in the world, compared to the billions who have a mother, and you know you don't have one, with all of the loss that that would entail. This is dystopian. In whose interest is this? I mean, we can say it's already happening. The science is there, because a few months ago, mouse pups were created using the genetic data of 2 male mice. So this has been done. They're using animal cloning techniques that have been pioneered since the 1990s. And this is there. What they're trying to do now is work on the chromosomal abnormalities to get these embryos to a healthy situation.
Just quickly, because we're pressed for time, but do you think there's a part of a wider agenda going on here? I know that we've seen a lot with some of the more radical aspects of the trans movement, where it's like, you know, we don't really need women anymore, and women and, you know, all of that. Do you see this as a continuation of that?
Completely. Female erasure. I mean, they'll still need women to be the surrogate mothers. They'll still need women to provide the donor eggs, which act as the sort of shell that you put this nucleus into. But they're not going to need women for very long if you can create babies without women. And we know where this is going. This is transhumanism, and we know the people who are lobbying for it.
Helen, thank you very much. It's Helen Gibson there, who's a women's rights campaigner. Look, I'll be honest with you, I saw that story yesterday and I thought it was incredibly sinister. So hopefully it doesn't come here to Britain.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care. Right, coming up at 10 p.m, a couple of stories for you. Our political editor, Christopher Hope's train was attacked on the way back from Labour conference. Also... Well, it's a victory for GB News because, yet again, we've done more to stop the boats crisis than this Labour government. The French have raided a big illegal migrant warehouse that we visited. But before that...
And I want to be clear too, if something were to happen to Nigel, heaven forbid, God forbid, we will hold the Prime Minister responsible.
So the Home Office reduced Nigel Farage's security and then started calling him a racist and making statements about the Hitler Youth. Coincidence? Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Wow, welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. If you're listening on radio, let me just describe what our viewers were seeing there. It was Greta Thunberg, essentially, really, I suppose, being maybe arrested and detained by the Israeli Defense Forces. She's decided to spearhead a flotilla of aid into Gaza. It's the second time she's done it. We're looking at split screens here now, various different onboard cameras from some of these vessels. They got too close to the Gaza Strip because, of course, there is a blockade there on account of the fact that they don't really want Islamist terrorists to be able to get in and out of Gaza. So they decided to stop Greta Thunberg, as they all knew would happen, and detain them. And I'm assuming that some of the aid that they've given will be handed to the Israeli Defense Forces and then probably sent into Gaza. So this is the second time this has happened. The quite funny thing, though, is that they've been doing quite a lot of propaganda, this Gaza flotilla. They've been saying things like, oh, they've been attacked by drones. Someone, I think quite amusingly, scrambled their speakers at one point just to play ABBA music out to them. So at least they could have a little boogie while they're on the way to somewhere near Gaza. But we got this clip for you as well of what appears to me, I'll let you make your minds up about this, but what appears to me to be them pretending to drive one of the boats. I think we might be able to play this for you now. Oh, there you go. Oh, I don't know. Oh, let's listen in. Let's listen in here. I heard something over a megaphone there. Let's see what they're saying. Oh. No, OK. Well, it looks to me, if you look at the top right-hand camera there, it looks like they're one of the people that are boarding this boat. So Jeremy Corbyn has come out and said that history will be on the side of the Gaza flotilla. They put out a statement whilst they were being boarded. It said, high alert, our vessels are being illegally intercepted. Cameras are offline. Well, they're not really, are they, as you can see? And vessels have been boarded by military personnel. We're actively working to confirm the safety and status of all participants on board. In a way, this is exactly what they want, isn't it? You know, if you want to sail a flotilla towards what is a war zone and what is an Islamist terrorist hotspot, you know you're going to get stopped on the way in. Do you not think it would be weird if the Israelis didn't stop them, though, to be fair? Like, you get stopped at an airport, don't you? So why would you be allowed to just sail straight in there? I do wonder what Greta Thunberg's views are on this new Trump ceasefire, because that ceasefire is release all the hostages and the bodies of the hostages that Hamas have executed and done goodness knows what else to. Send them back to Israel. Hamas, that terrorist organisation, would no longer be able to operate and run the Gaza Strip, so they'd have to go, the terrorists would be gone, and then there'd be refurbishment, there'd be economic development, there'd be all of that stuff that takes place in there, the rebuilding of Gaza, and the people of Gaza would not have to leave, they would not have to move, they wouldn't be forcefully evicted, it wouldn't be turned into, you know, remember that Trump Gaza video where he wanted to turn it into Gaza Largo? It wouldn't be that, it would still very much be theirs, and they would be able to elect a government that was not an Islamist terror state. We would then, of course, find out for sure, wouldn't we, how many people who live in Gaza actually support an Islamist terror group. But there we go. So these are live shots now from that Gaza flotilla. Can we just play again, maybe, that clip of, you know, there's some of the kind of really like propaganda type stuff that they've been trying to do, where they say they're doing these videos like, yeah, look, we're sailing towards there, it's full steam ahead. Just have a little look at this video and you tell me whether you think this boat is even moving. Yeah, not moving, is it? Wasn't moving. So, yeah, you're watching the live shots of the Gaza flotilla being stopped. People on it are no doubt going to be detained. And what you're about to see at some point, probably in the next hour or so, and we'll bring it to you, is a video of Greta Thunberg, quite possibly in handcuffs, being either taken away or maybe, depending on how the Israelis will do it, maybe just doing what they did last time, which is giving us some food, etc. The Israelis have described this flotilla as a PR stunt and given one of those clips clips that I just played to you earlier, it does look as though it might be. We will not allow any PR stunts approaching an active war zone to violate our sovereignty. And I think when you put it like that, that's kind of fair enough, isn't it? I'm going to play you now this clip of someone scrambling the speakers on this. Go on.
My name is Camilla Tominey and I'm currently on board the boat Alma as part of the global Flotilla, a peaceful humanitarian mission to deliver aid to the civilian population of Gaza and to break Israel's illegal and inhumane siege. And it is likely to believe that we will be intercepted tonight by Israel.
Oh, there you go. There. So she was right. They were intercepted by Israel because they were approaching a war zone. Anyway, more on that as we get it. But coming up in just a couple of minutes... It's a victory for GB News as the French have raided and closed a migrant camp.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A storm is brewing out in the Atlantic. Storm Amy will arrive on Friday night and linger into Saturday morning. In the meantime, largely fine day to come tomorrow across the south like today, whereas further north there will again be a lot of cloud around, still producing outbreaks of rain through the night, especially in western Scotland. Those yellowy colours there suggesting the rain at times will be fairly heavy. Quite breezy here too, but with the cloud and the breeze and the rain, it will be a mild night. Further south, with some breaks in the cloud. In rural spots, we could dip down to single figures. Could also allow a bit of mist and fog to form for Thursday morning, but that should clear away. The rain, though, is going to linger across western Scotland. Probably not too heavy through the morning, but it will pep up again later in the day. And we do have a Met Office yellow warning in place. The rain really building up through this week. Could cause a bit of disruption, the potential for some flooding. Patchy rain across Northern Ireland initially. That is also going to turn heavier. Most of England and Wales having a cloudy but dry start. As I mentioned, maybe some mist and fog through the morning rush hour, but it should clear away. The rain is going to get heavier through Northern Ireland during the morning and then through the afternoon spread into western Scotland. So again, the potential for some disruption from that wet weather. The Moray Firth may well stay completely dry and the rain will be fairly light and patchy in Edinburgh. England and Wales by and large staying dry, brightening up too with some sunshine. We could see 21 degrees Celsius, but we'll see some rain scooting through England and Wales Thursday night and into Friday, clearing away to reveal something a bit drier for a time. But look at this. This is Storm Amy, bringing rain into the northwest later on Friday, and the winds also continuing to strengthen. A windy night Thursday night, but it gets even windier on Friday night as Storm Amy moves in. Look at the isobars. There's a number of weather warnings in place. Do check out the Met Office warning for details on that. But this storm system could cause some problems into the weekend.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight. Is a victory for GB News as the French clear a huge illegal migrant camp, and
None of the defendants have shown the slightest remorse for what they have put the survivors through. By maintaining their denials and refusing to accept responsibility.
an absolutely shocking story. Well, actually, I say that. Is it even that shocking anymore? A Pakistani rape gang ringleader has been jailed for 35 years. He was born in Pakistan. He came over here, and the details of that case will make you feel sick. On my panel tonight, we have got the Director of the Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood, Reform Councillor Jamie McIver, and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Plus, I'm going to be joined by our political editor, Christopher Hope, because his train was attacked on his way back from Labour Party conference. We'll find out exactly what happened. Apparently he's very shaken up, but he is OK. And, gosh, it's all over for Greta. Live images there of what remains of Greta Thunberg's vanity flotilla to Gaza. It's been intercepted by the Israeli soldiers again. Presumably they're preparing to give her a sandwich, treat her quite nicely, and then just send her to a different country so she can moan about it. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. GB News has closed an illegal migrant warehouse. Next.
Very good evening to you. 10 o'clock, the top story tonight. An international aid flotilla, 50 boats carrying some 500 people, says it has been illegally intercepted after Israeli naval forces boarded several ships heading towards Gaza. That interception is expected to take 2 to 3 hours as activists are streaming events live from on board. 3 of the boats have already been boarded, but they insist their mission to Gaza is continuing. In a statement, the Israeli military have warned the flotilla is approaching an active combat zone and violating a naval blockade. We've also heard that activist Greta Thunberg is said to be safe and healthy after Israel's foreign ministry confirmed she has been taken to port. Here, the head of the Metropolitan Police Force has apologised for what he described as reprehensible behaviour by officers at the Charing Cross police station, revealed in a new Panorama investigation.
I understand the people of London are going to be really upset by this. Some it will cause to question the trust they hold the police in. And we depend on that trust so much because without it, we can't succeed in keeping them safe.
Sir Mark Rowley says 9 officers have been suspended, with most likely to face dismissal within weeks. The police watchdog has also launched its own inquiry into claims of racism, misogyny, anti-Muslim sentiment and the use of excessive force. London Mayor Sir Sadiq Khan says he's disgusted and appalled, backing the Commissioner's pledge of zero tolerance. The entire custody team has now been disbanded as urgent reforms are rolled out across the force. Also tonight, a Rochdale grooming gang has been jailed for a total of 174 years. The ringleader, Mohammed Zaid, a father of 3, was sentenced to 35 years for raping 2 schoolgirls. He lured the girls with money, alcohol and food, treating them as sex slaves from the age of just 13. He was one of 7 men convicted in June of sexual offences committed between 2001 and 2006. Earlier, speaking on behalf of the victims, Ruth Spencer.
I'm reading these statements on behalf of the 2 victims who have bravely supported this case. Girl A. My childhood was taken away from me by these men. I should have been out with friends, playing in parks and being innocent, hanging around on the streets, enjoying my childhood and creating memories I would be able to cherish and look back at as an adult. However, my life was far from that due to these men. This has been and still is consuming my life. I hope that one day I will be able to move forward with my life. The jury, finding these 5 men guilty, I hope is going to help me take another step forward to get my life back, as I have already lost my childhood to these men.
Ruth Spencer there speaking earlier. The government has issued a new order demanding access to Apple's user data in Britain. It follows a row over privacy after ministers had previously sought worldwide access, a move condemned by Washington as a clear violation of Americans' rights. Apple says it's never built a backdoor and never will. The tech giant pulled its toughest encryption tool from the UK and says it's gravely disappointed it can no longer offer it. A tribunal hearing on that dispute is set for January next year. And a heavyweight champion has been crowned in Alaska. No, it's not Patrick Christys. It is, in fact, Chunk, the brown bear. Tipping the scales over 500 kilos, he is the new winner of Fat Bear Week. The Scarface giant overcame a broken jaw to out-chomp rivals by more than 30,000 votes. Rangers say he relearned how to fish after the injury, proving resilience can be just as impressive as size. Fans in more than 100 countries tuned in to live streams of salmon snatching and bear stare-downs. One voter even called Chunk an inspiration, saying he too had battled through tough summers and come out stronger. I'm in big trouble. Those are the latest headlines. I'll be back with you in an hour.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are, online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Thank you, Sam. We all know how much you like bears. Right, breaking news for you now. And French police have raided and cleared a huge illegal migrant warehouse in Calais. This is a victory for GB News. And I stand before you today, currently stood in the middle of an illegal migrant warehouse full of young Sudanese bred. I revealed this warehouse with nearly 1,000 illegals waiting to break into Britain 4 months ago. Today, police cleared it out, and there's some footage that appears to show some of the illegal migrants after they were evicted. Today, Sir Keir Starmer claimed that Nigel Farage and Brexit was responsible for the surge in illegal immigration.
I would gently point out to Nigel Farage and others that before we left the EU, we had a returns agreement with every country in the EU, and he told the country make no difference if we left. Well, he was wrong about that. These are Farage boats in many senses that are coming across the channel.
And legal net migration, that will come down to under your government.
Well, this is untrue. Under the Dublin Agreement, we returned just an average of 560 people a year between 2008 and 2020. And we then took more than we returned. In 2020, we returned 105 and we took 882, apparently. So when I went to Calais, I uncovered the real reason they all want to come to Sir Keir Starmer's Britain. You want to come to England?
Yeah.
Why?
Because here I don't have home.
Do you think that they give you money in England?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, but I think they are give me England. They are give me money. You can help me anything. I can need. Okay. Maybe you help me.
Yeah. I went back 2 months ago and it was clear that the hundreds of men, and by the way, it was only men there, were more standoffish and much more aggressive. My name's Patrick. I do a show at GB News. Hello. I just want to talk about how you get from here to the lorry parks. Is that possible? Quick conversation, no? Fine. Fine? OK. All right, we are going to get out of here. They've obviously made their feelings clear. There we are. Yeah. All right, they've decided to kick off a little bit. OK, OK. All right. Hey, look, we just want to have a conversation with you, that's all. What was also clear was the fact that charity groups were, in my view, using that warehouse that the French have just raided and closed to help with illegal immigration into Britain. Just from some of my viewers' perspective, what they might think is that there's a warehouse full of men who are about to break into Britain here, and that
we have a job to do, so we're just going to go just now.
What is the job?
We don't really want to share that with you, but thank you for asking.
Okay.
But we're going to go.
Yeah.
Have a nice rest of your
It's
day.
just like a lot of people might be a bit annoyed about this, you know, and that you're helping them. This information can save your life. How to send your GPS location when you call for help. They've even got advice on, watch out for a refrigerated truck. Getting on or off a moving truck is very dangerous. If you fall badly, get away from the road. And you can call the emergency number. There's also a bit on, if your boat starts to get pushed back, here's what you can do. This is a manual on how to break into Britain, isn't it? So, good news. French police have now apparently sealed the warehouse and put concrete bollards up around it to prevent illegals from using it as a base again. They say as well that it was a hotbed for human traffickers, which it obviously was. GB News went over there twice and showed you the grim reality. It prompted a load of other journalists to go after us, and I'm convinced that this has put some pressure on the French. But Sir Keir Starmer, however, appeared to reject an invitation from French politicians to go over and see camps like that for himself. He didn't want to. Instead, he's still flapping around talking today about international law.
I do think we need to look again at the interpretation of some of these provisions. And we've already begun to do that work, Nick, in some of our domestic legislation. We do need to look at that.
So that's what's called Article 3, isn't it?
It's Article 3 or Article 8. They're the two that are most immediately in play.
Yeah, we'll look at it. We'll do something about it. Just do it. I mean, actually, Sir Keir Starmer should have gone over to visit those illegal migrant camps because he's far more popular with illegal immigrants than he is with the British public. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We've got Director of Popular Conservatives Mark Littlewood, Reform Councillor Jamie McIver and broadcaster and journalist Nina Mishkov. Right, OK, I mean, firstly, obviously, bit of a result that the French have done that, but let's not kid ourselves. There'll just be another warehouse somewhere on that industrial estate full of them soon, won't there?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, congratulations to you and Patrick for the GB News campaign, but you will be playing a game of whack-a-mole. You know, you close one down, one other will pop up. Look, interesting that Keir Starmer is now reflecting upon whether we might disapply some parts of Article 3 or Article 8, but this is all a day late and a dollar short, isn't it? I mean, it's woeful. If you were to compare, let's compare two administrations that are freshly in office last year, who has done a better job of tackling illegal immigration? Keir Starmer's Labour government or the Trump administration in America? You can get results fast if you've got the political will. Unfortunately, Keir Starmer is still reaching for his handbook on international human rights law.
Quite. Well, today Sir Keir Starmer called them the Farage boats and also said that Nigel Farage was to blame and Brexit was to blame for the illegal migrant crisis because that has directly been a result of an increase. But it's not true, is it? Because he was banging on about the Dublin Agreement, and as I just said there, we only returned something like an average of 500 people a year with that, and we were accepting loads more. So it's just a lie.
Of course it's not true. We start the week with calling Nigel Farage and Reform voters racist. People that support Reform are racist. That doesn't click on. They realise the conference is bad. They're 5 points down in the polls, and then you start to blame Nigel Farage, of all the people, for the boat crossings. Let's be real. If it wasn't for Nigel Farage, the British public wouldn't know the boat crossings were happening. And if it wasn't for GB News and your investigative journalism, we wouldn't know the reality of what's happening in Calais. This this government is choosing to turn a blind eye, and they ideologically do not mind illegal migration. The Labour MPs on those backbenches would sooner provide illegal migrants with a lovely brand new Taylor Wimpey new build than they would turn them back and deport them like Reform want to. And the other thing that we need to make very clear, Starmer has a majority in the House of Commons, a significant one. Parliament controls this country. It's meant to control this country. They can deal with this tomorrow. They can put legislation in place. They don't want to. None of those Labour MPs want to do it. The backbenchers don't get on with the government. And above all, there's no political will.
Go on, Nina.
Full of sweeping statements that are akin to the truth but are not absolutely the truth. Firstly, Starmer did not call Nigel Farage racist, nor did he call Reform supporters racist. He made that very clear today. He said that the proposal that Farage had in terms of...
well, he called the policies racist.
He called the policies racist. Exactly, so let's not say that.
Not a racist, he just goes around making racist proposals. That's the new
let's face it, the year before Brexit came in, there were 1,800 people in a boat. That was all. And after Brexit, look what we've got. So that has got to have something to do with it. You can't say it's not a factor, because it is a factor.
But the lie, really, and I feel comfortable saying it is a lie because there are the stats here, was that before we had this thing called the Dublin Agreement, where you would send people back...
The Conservatives did not use it.
Well,
they didn't use it. You can't blame Keir Starmer for the Conservatives not using it.
It's possibly easier to blame the Conservatives, because what Brexit did was to put immigration policy, in considerable part, back in our own hands. Right? So it was now up to us, rather than the EU, about who could come in and who couldn't. And I think it's reasonable to reflect upon what the Conservative government's approach to that was and be critical of that. Right. But that was nothing to do with Nigel Farage. No. Right? He was out criticising the Conservative government for its response. He wasn't the immigration minister. He wasn't the Home Secretary.
No, but I'm saying the Conservative... Boris, wait.
So it's emerged as well that a load of local politicians in northern France did invite Sir Keir Starmer out to northern France so he could go and look at camps and warehouses like the one that we were in before, so he could go and look at them for himself. Now, I put it to you that if he had done that and he'd have turned round and said to the French authorities, why aren't you doing anything about this, because the only reason they're in there is because they want to come to Britain, that would have put huge amounts of pressure on them. Instead, it's gone on for years, and today the French finally decided to do something.
Well, don't forget, Labour politicians don't like it when people on the right suggest that France is a safe country. They think it's acceptable for people to transit through France. And let's be very, very frank about what Labour have said about Reform UK this week. They have tried to call us racist. And by the way,
they did not call the people racist. They called the policy racist.
I know exactly how people like me have been labelled this week, and it is disgusting.
You have not been labelled racist. You have not been labelled racist.
I could not believe that was a Prime Minister holding the most
You have not been called a racist.
Our policy has been labelled as racist.
That is, if you look at it logically, no, the supporters have not been called racist. He made that very clear. You are just being...
Is it a little bit like saying when Gary Lineker made references to 1930s Germany and then tried to say he wasn't talking about Nazis?
It's a lot more straightforward than that, Patrick.
It's not that at all. It's absolutely...
If I can just finish this point, please. The Labour Party... Ministers, the Prime Minister this week said that Reform's policy is racist. There are millions of people that support that policy. You cannot say that that suggestion isn't that those people are racist. And I can say with confidence that Labour politicians, including the Prime Minister, this week have said that the millions that support Reform UK and support that specific policy are racist.
They have not. They have
vile to say that, but I see it every week with the left Epping. I see it every week.
And can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah. The policy where you discriminate against people because they are not British can be defined as racist, because you are defining them by race.
Well, no, that's by nationality. That's not by race.
Well, nationality is called Britain, and we are saying that the wave of people that
does mean a vast number of things would be racist. For example, you need to be a British citizen to vote in all elections. We don't let foreigners vote in our elections. Is that a racist policy?
No, it's not.
Right.
No, it's not.
So we are accepting. We will treat British citizens differently to foreigners.
Yes. But the thing is, let's talk about the people he's talking about. The people who have indefinite leave to remain. Many of them have been here for decades. They work in the National Health. They work in all sorts of places. They've paid their way. They've paid taxes. So you cannot say that these people should be treated differently. This is just outrageous.
Leave to remain is different to being a British citizen.
Very quickly, because we didn't get to talk about it in the last hour because we did the Gaza Flotilla. But just to tie into what Jamie was saying there, so apparently the Home Office have reduced Nigel Farage's security by 75%, and then that goes hand in hand now with a new kind of idea by Labour, which is to start using the word racist about someone, whether or not it's Nigel Farage, and for David Lammy to start talking about the Hitler Youth. What's going on there? Are they putting his life at risk?
Well, it's crazy. I don't know the details around his security arrangements. I don't. I think the Home Office should explain why it's been reduced. I don't know what quantum it's at, how much he needs them, but I would expect the Home Office to explain that. I found the Labour conference was better for Reform than Reform's own conference. I mean, it's absolutely incredible to find a Prime Minister with a majority of 140 in the House of Commons spending the entirety of the governing party's conference attacking the leader of a party who's got 5 MPs. It's absolutely unbelievable.
And Nigel has handled the Prime Minister with class this week, but I tell you something that's worse than being called racist is the Prime Minister called Nigel Farage dangerous. Cabinet members called Nigel Farage dangerous, and there are nutters in this country that will take that very literally, and that is disgraceful.
Should Nigel Farage have his security fully reinstated, Nina, do you think?
I have no idea why it was diminished, and I don't know why. And who else? We just know that if his has been reduced, who else has been reduced? We don't. This may be policy that's all the way through. We don't know.
All right. Well, look, loads more to come. We have got a very, very concerning story for you. It's a big story, though, about the latest in a Pakistani rape gang scandal case where one of the perpetrators, born in Pakistan, has been sentenced to 35 years. But before that, something a little bit lighter anyway, take your mind off it all. You can win the Great British Giveaway, massive motorhome, loads of cash. Here's Hayley Sparks.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof lights, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Loads more coming your way. We're going to be joined by our political editor, Christopher Hope, whose train was attacked on the way back from Labour conference. Also, can I just say a massive thank you to all the viewers and the listeners, because GB News has done what everyone thought was impossible. We've done the hat-trick. We are now Britain's #1 news channel, beating the BBC. Sky's off in a distant third. We've been the #1 news channel for 3 months in a row. But yes, also, it's all over for Greta. Oh, bless. Here we go. We go live again to the Gaza vanity Flotilla, don't we? There it is. That's the fastest I've seen that thing move for weeks. I can't really tell who's in charge of it now. I'm assuming it is the Israeli Defence Forces, but anyway, they've not... Shock horror, they've not managed to make it into the war zone and hand out a big Aldi shop to the people of Gaza, but there we go. Well, on much more serious news than the Gaza Flotilla, a Pakistani rape gang ringleader has now been jailed for 35 years. It's another case. The cases keep on coming, and I'll reveal the horrifying details to you next.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live, every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Two guests we're very happy to see all the time, Patrick, Christys and Emily Carver, husband and wife, and their new little product, little baby George. Peter Alexander.
Close enough.
Close enough. We won't quibble about the order. Yeah, this is baby George.
Congratulations, the two of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And what sort of birth was it, Emily?
The traditional way.
Was it easy?
I was induced a little bit early because they were worried that maybe he was measuring a little small, so they wanted to get him out, which did mean that it was very, very painful indeed. But I did finally get an epidural towards the end.
How much did you weigh? Sorry, I was going to say.
6.5 pounds. Yeah, so a little one.
Honestly, I was in awe of Emily. She basically did all of it on 2 paracetamol until right at the end. Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah, but that wasn't because I wanted to. That's because the epidural took a while to arrive.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, to watch and just to be there, really. I felt very sorry for you, obviously, but, you know, it was...
But the staff were amazing. I had 3 midwives all sort of cheering me on. Push, push, push.
Oh. And you?
And, of course, him.
I was just,
and my mother.
I was supervising.
You were supervising.
I was supervising.
So, how have you two taken to being parents? I mean, there you were leading this life, you know, and then little George comes along. Have you taken to it easily, or have you surprised yourselves, or...?
I think we've been quite natural with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's still...
I mean, as natural as you can be. I mean, not to toot our own horns, but I think it's going pretty well.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to Patrick, Christys. Now, very shortly, all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. But first, a vile Rochdale grooming gang, well, Rochdale stretching it a little bit, Pakistani more like, was today jailed for a total of 174 years. The ringleader, Mohammed Zahid, who was born in Pakistan, was sentenced to 35 years for raping 2 schoolgirls. Now, Zahid lured the girls by giving them free underwear, money, alcohol and food, and then proceeded to treat them as sex slaves from the age of 13. Now, he was one of 7 men convicted in June of sexual offences committed between 2001 and 2006. The court heard that the girls were expected to have sex wherever and whenever these vile men wanted them to, in filthy flats, cars, and sometimes outdoors on the moors as well. Well, I'm joined now by the father of a grooming gang victim, Marlon West. Marlon, thank you very much for joining us. What does it make you feel when you hear stories like this about the way that these men lured these girls in?
It's sickening, because that's exactly what's happened to my daughter. And when you see it in the media and you read the details, yeah, it's upsetting as a parent.
And so 35 years that the so-called ringleader has got there, Zahid, Mohammed Zahid. Is that a strong enough sentence for you? Is there anything, really? Is there any sentence that'll do any kind of justice?
No, well, I welcome the sentence, and I hope it's a prevalence for nationally. I hope other areas do the same. However, what I would be asking, will he be deported at the end of that?
Well, I'm glad that you've raised that in a way, because we've imported this problem, haven't we? He came from Pakistan. He was not born here. Yeah, we do, unfortunately, obviously far too many paedophiles of our own here, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But this was an imported issue. You know, he's a Pakistani man. And so you want him, you just want him out, do you?
Yeah, because why should the taxpayers pay for him to be in prison for 35 years?
Yeah. I mean, there doesn't seem to be much glamour for one. Yeah, good. No, well, I don't know if it is that difficult.
One, isn't it?
Not necessarily for me, really, but I get that some people who are potentially a little bit more politically correct might have an issue with it. But is there another layer of injustice here, you know, for victims, for survivors, and for relatives like yourself, which is that, like, these were people all too often who have come to Britain, so we've kind of let them in. Is that the added kind of kick for you?
Yeah. There's got to be responsibility or accountability by the government as well as, because, yeah, they have let them in. Let's face it, the numbers are going up and up and up, especially with publicity. But nothing's said. Like, one of the things with this case, what I found really interesting, Girl B said that she was picked up by the police at a very young age as a child and taken to the police station for prostitution. And okay, it was 20 years ago, and what the police are saying, attitudes have changed. I'm not sure they have. It was only 2 years ago my daughter was being groomed, and professionals were telling me it was a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, also, 20 years ago sounds like a really long time. Like, when people say 20 years ago, I imagine the 80s. But it's not, actually. We are still talking about the 2000s. And it was a modern country then. So the idea of a child being taken to a police station for whatever it was, prostitution, when they were a child, and then the issue not being looked at more deeply is a massive, massive concern. So, you know, you're raising serious questions about police forces there, aren't you? And whether or not they could have stopped all of this much sooner.
And again, back to accountability. Police officers, social workers, I hear this all the time. I've experienced this with my daughter as well, but I hear it from other families. There's no accountability. I would have them in the dock, and I would have them professionals prosecuted, because at the end of the day, they should have been safeguarding our children when they knew.
Yeah. And it is right up and down the country. What do you think that there are cultural issues so that in some cultures, in some countries, specifically in Pakistan, we might as well mention that because that's where they're from, that it is more normal to do this kind of stuff, and that maybe we need to just acknowledge that?
I'm unsure. There's different theories. One of my theories is because we've all been so politically correct for years, and we don't want to challenge, let's say, Muslim communities of grooming, they've got away with it. And if any paedophile could get away with it, they would do. So we've kind of, as a nation, reinforced that.
So we allowed a situation to happen where essentially, young white girls can be picked up, abused, treated in the most awful way, in some cases killed as well. And because they could get away with that, it basically made it look like we didn't care about our own girls, essentially. So they just thought they could crack on.
Yeah, because as a nation, we're terrified of being accused of being racist.
I know that a lot of our viewers and listeners feel this way, but I do really think that this is one of the big issues of our time, and in 50 or 60 years' time, people are going to look back and think, how the heck did we ever let this happen? But at least today, that guy has got 35 years. I know that there were cases in the past. I think we've got a picture of a couple of the mugshots of some of these people. One of them's called Qari Abdul Rauf. He basically got out in like 2 or 3 years. He's still in prison. He's the one on the, well, as I'm looking at the screen now, he's to my right, he's the one with the beard. He got about 2 or 3 years, shredded his Pakistani passport so we couldn't deport him or wouldn't deport him, has been working as a delivery driver in the same place where he was before abusing girls. I mean, it's just a devastating state of affairs. So at least the sentencing appears to have got a little bit more severe. But Marlon, look, thank you very much. I do always appreciate you coming on and talking about it. You know, I imagine it's a very difficult thing to do, but thank you. It's Marlon West there, is the father of a grooming gang victim. Thank you, take care. Coming up, all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. There's some good ones there. I'll leave you hanging on what they are, though. But first, we've got our political editor, Christopher Hope. His train's been attacked by thugs on his way back from the Labour Party conference. Don't go anywhere.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
We've seen some pretty heavy rain around the Mediterranean this week. It's going to stay pretty wet and quite windy across Greece. Meanwhile, the rain clearing away from Italy and the Balkans. A few showers coming into the Canary Islands, the odd one close to Barcelona, but the Balearics turning drier after some thunderstorms earlier, along with the Balkans and Italy as the rain clears away here during Thursday, but setting up across Greece, some heavy downpours and gusty winds through Thursday and Friday. Looking drier, though, in Santorini for the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A storm is brewing out in the Atlantic. Storm Amy will arrive on Friday night and linger into Saturday morning. In the meantime, largely fine day to come tomorrow across the south like today, whereas further north there will again be a lot of cloud around, still producing outbreaks of rain through the night, especially in western Scotland. Those yellowy colours there suggesting the rain at times will be fairly heavy, quite breezy here too, but with the cloud and the breeze and the rain it will be a mild night. Further south with some breaks in the cloud, in rural spots we could dip down to single figures. Could also allow a bit of mist and fog to form for Thursday morning, but that should clear away. The rain, though, is going to linger across western Scotland. Probably not too heavy through the morning, but it will pep up again later in the day. And we do have a Met Office yellow warning in place. The rain really building up through this week. Could cause a bit of disruption, the potential for some flooding. Patchy rain across Northern Ireland initially. That is also going to turn heavier. Most of England and Wales having a cloudy but dry start. As I mentioned, maybe some mist and fog through the morning rush hour, but it should clear away. The rain is going to get heavier through Northern Ireland during the morning and then through the afternoon spread into western Scotland. So again, the potential for some disruption from that wet weather. The Moray Firth may well stay completely dry and the rain will be fairly light and patchy in Edinburgh. England and Wales by and large staying dry, brightening up too with some sunshine. We could see 21 degrees Celsius, but we'll see some rain scooting through England and Wales Thursday night and into Friday, clearing away to reveal something a bit drier for a time. But look at this. This is Storm Amy, bringing rain into the northwest later on Friday, and the winds also continuing to strengthen. A windy night Thursday night, but it gets even windier on Friday night as Storm Amy moves in. Look at the isobars. There's a number of weather warnings in place. Do check out the Met Office warning for details on that. But this storm system could cause some problems into the weekend.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Wow. OK, welcome back. If you're listening on radio, that was Greta Thunberg putting a silly little frog hat on and being arrested by the Israeli Defence Forces. Why, you may ask? Well, that's because she decided to spearhead a flotilla of roughly 50 boats straight towards a war zone. Just as we watch these images of this happening, do you have some sympathy, Mark, for Greta Thunberg? Because Jeremy Corbyn says that history will remember the flotilla well.
I don't think history will remember it at all. Right. I mean, this is just the worst type of kind of performative politics. She's doing no one any good by being there, other than her profile, I suppose, which appeals to a particular niche of people. Completely unsurprising that she's been stopped. I hope everybody on this preposterous PR exercise is alive and well, and I'm sure they're being treated perfectly fairly. But I mean, what do you expect, honestly?
Well, that's actually one of the great jokes about all of this, because she spends her entire time talking about how the Israeli Defence Forces are awful, and then when she comes into contact with them, they just tend to treat her really well.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I'd like to point out that if she wasn't a girl, she wasn't a woman, you wouldn't be as sneery about her as you are.
Oh, I would be.
Oh, you think this is sexism?
I think partially it's sexism. I really
don't care what gender
But no,
she is.
because Greta if it was a bloke, it would not be the same.
It's funny you should say that, because I kind of look at Greta Thunberg not actually as any kind of gender. I just kind of look at her as her own thing. It's Greta Thunberg.
I asked the question. I mean, I'm not saying definitely. I'm saying
maybe some people are sexist towards her. I just think she's an idiot.
But the thing is, you don't know. She may well have genuine concern for the situation in Gaza, as most thinking, humane people are.
I don't even think it's genuine concern. That's my view.
All right, well, there we go. Look, let me just whiz you through the papers. You're looking at those live shots there, but anyway, let's tell you what's on the front pages. Then we're going to go to our political editor, Christopher Home, because his train was attacked on the way back from Labour conference. The Metro, Mone, Mone, Mone. It's all about Michelle Mone, and they've got the detail there about she's lost a court battle, apparently, about having to pay back, I think it's 122 million quid. The Independent, PM's major U-turn on human rights to stop, quote, the Farage boat. I've got a bit more detail on that for you in the Eye, which is refugees stripped of automatic right to have families join them in the UK. I'll just say, if Sir Keir Starmer was in opposition, he'd be campaigning openly, nakedly, to keep refugees and have their families in Britain. He would be. We all know it. He knows it. This is not something he agrees with. He's doing it because of his position in the polls and, whatever. Anyway, the Daily Telegraph, Kemi Badenoch, I'll rip up the laws on net zero. There we go. Right, you know what? Before we get stuck into the papers, I'm going to go to a political editor, Christopher Hope. He's a very tired man, I believe. He's had a very stressful journey, travelling back from Liverpool to London, Euston. And, Chris, I'm going to throw it over to you because you were attacked by thugs.
It wasn't quite that dramatic. I was on the train, the 1808 train, you'll know it very well, I think, Patrick, from Lime Street to London. I think I was going through your neck of the woods, Runcorn Crew way. Yes. And then some young kids chucked bricks onto this train, our train, going at 125 miles an hour, struck and broke. It seems to break the windscreen of this train, shocking the driver. We were all thrown off the train at Crewe and made our way home from there. So it took a long way to get back from Crewe, but it just struck me that to have young children throwing bricks at trains when they're going 125 miles an hour is extraordinary. But I've got to pay a huge amount of credit to Avanti Crew. They slowed the train down, didn't stop, it just slowed down, went to Crewe, all very calm, and left the train and left the driver to be looked after. But he or she is upset about it, not surprisingly. And it just shows, I think, outside our comfortable world we live in, there are people taking risks, delivering public services, and also under threat. I mean having a bricks thrown for the windscreen of a train going 125 miles an hour was terrifying for this individual. So all credit to Avanti. I've been on touch with Avanti on my way back for you, Patrick. They say that the British Transport Police is now investigating, and they are taking any further media queries. But we'll stay on this, and we'll try and look at it further, because it's really, really serious.
Well, it is. I mean, not just the driver that could have been killed, of course. I mean, it was pretty much everyone on board, isn't it?
Yeah.
And very, very serious. So, presumably people were very shaken at the time, Chris.
Well, it was very well handled on board the train. The train slowed down, and the conductor came on and said what had happened, and he couldn't quite believe it. He said simply that some kids, some youths from a bridge had chucked bricks at the train, and they'd smashed the driver's windscreen. He'd slowed right down and then proceeded at a slow. But it's unbelievable. I mean, you're on a train just trying to get some work done. I've been on air for us on our channel since 7 a.m, so trying to get home after a long day, and then this happens. It just is a real warning, or a reminder of what it's like out there for public sector workers, and it does feel a bit lawless, Patrick. I want to say, you felt unsafe, so I'm glad to get home.
Well, Christopher, thank you very much. We're very glad that you're OK, that everyone on board was OK. I think I will stress that so far it doesn't seem that anyone was injured, but I mean, they could have been. It could have been very, very serious indeed.
The thing is, we don't know about the driver, and I've been trying to find out from Avanti. They've been unable to help. It's the driver I'm worried about, but as I say, we're all fine. total pro team. I just think it's something to report, and that's why I put it on social media earlier, to be struck by bricks going at 125 miles an hour in the UK from a bridge is alarming.
Well, could have been dealing with a mass fatality situation. There's no question about it. Chris, thank you. And by the way, as well, stellar stuff as always at Labour Party conference and just generally as well. So well done, Chris. Our political editors. Take care. Bye bye. Right. Okay. Well, gosh, I'll be honest with you. Initially, I thought the breaking news about Avanti West Coast would be that one of their trains was on time. But
there actually was a train.
Turns out it was much more serious than that.
Yeah, where are the parents? How can the parents don't know what their children are doing?
Yeah, shocking. But there we go. Just quickly, I wanted to talk about what's on the front of the eye. Refugees stripped of automatic right to have families join them in the UK. So Keir Starmer's doing this now. He would have been campaigning against this policy, wouldn't he?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, that is realpolitik, isn't it? That you sometimes have to bend towards public opinion. That's what you'd expect in a democracy. But I would say this, right? It seems to me that the case for staying in ECHR is now shot, right? If the Prime Minister, a human rights lawyer, is saying, "Oh no, we actually now want a pick and mix deal. We're going to water down this bit and perhaps not apply that bit." Yeah. Well, if he's therefore accepting that we can design the rules better ourselves than a court in Strasbourg, doesn't it follow from that we might as well exit altogether? What's the point of being in this convention and striking out the bits you don't like?
He's talking about a quote as well from him, is that we're talking about the interpretation. We need to look at the interpretation. Yeah. So he's now angry at how people like himself have been... He's made a career. He has made a career out of this, and now he's angry about how people like himself are interpreting ECHR. Right. And not, you know, how do you like that, Keir? You know?
Well, I mean, this is just typical of... I mean, I'm all for fair representation, legal representation, but there are lawyers in this country that are earning a fortune out of effectively suing our own government when it comes to us trying to control our own borders. But also, Keir Starmer was one of those opposition MPs that was resisting everything the previous government was trying to do, albeit trying very badly, trying to do to control our borders, to stop the illegal crossings. But we've seen how there are activist lawyers in this country that will literally market themselves to help you get around the ECHR rules. Yes. And that is probably the most unpatriotic thing. And actually, worse than employed by this government, I think they actually are working in Whitehall.
Nina, if he decides to modify the ECHR, then the Attorney-General, Lord Hermer, one of his great friends, has to go, because he's been giving it out large about how we'll never deviate from the ECHR.
Well, let's see what happens when that comes. But if Keir Starmer realises that he has to do something, then he will do it. He is a very pragmatic man. He's also quite ruthless, and he will steamroller through a friendship, I assume, if he has to do that. But you know, maybe the ECHR can be tweaked. Maybe Europe wants to tweak it themselves. You don't know that, because Europe has got a huge problem. Yeah. They have got a much bigger problem than us.
The slight problem is going to be the length of time this takes. I mean, here we are again. He's talking about it. He's talking about looking at the interpretation of certain articles. We're talking at years.
And the hope for reform, I think, is pretty... for the reform of the treaty is pretty thin. Giorgia Meloni and other European leaders have attempted that and were told by the Strasbourg court to sling their hook.
All right. When we come back, the rest of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. Apparently the Times has got a good one. Britain blown £1 billion on turning wind turbines off during high winds. Stay tuned.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Park Estate and the anti-litter champion. Great to see you. What made you think of this, Duncan?
I think just the huge amount of litter. I said to the children, when I was their age, we would be able to go from this beautiful estate, which I'm so lucky to live in, to Witham or Chelmsford or Braintree, and you'll never see any litter. And today it's so different. And, you know, we're thinking we've got to affect some kind of behavioural change. And the best place to start with that is with young minds. It's so baffling to me that people don't prioritise litter, because if you think about it, all the ills of society that our civic leaders are trying to sort out are characterised by, you know, antisocial behaviour, lack of personal responsibility, selfishness, lack of community spirit. And if you toss a plastic bottle or a disused coffee cup or a wrapper out of your window, one is displaying exactly the same characteristics as, you know, we need to resolve all the other bigger antisocial problems.
What reaction are you getting from today's children? Are they a bit astonished about the fact that they shouldn't throw litter around?
Yeah, no, every time you ask the question, has anybody seen anyone littering? Up went 500 hands. Have you ever littered? And up went to sort of 10 very brave little hands.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Let me whiz you through the last of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. The Daily Express, let down by those whose job it was to protect them. This is that Rochdale grooming gang case, another one, a Pakistani rape gang scandal. Total of 7 men sentenced to 174 years. There. The Guardian. So this is on the front page of several national newspapers, and it's Michelle Mone. So PPE firm with link to Michelle Mone ordered to repay £122 million. The trial heard that 25 million surgical gowns supplied as part of this VIP lane during COVID were unusable. Apparently, they, as I understand it, had not been properly sterilised. The Daily Mail. Baroness Bra told hand back our 122 million quid. And the peerage. There you go. Shamed peer Michelle Mone was last night under pressure to pay it back. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second, I think. The Times, automatic rights for refugees to be scrapped, the same newspaper as The Eye. The Sun have got an interesting one on the sidebar here, which is the Army is set to put up camps for migrants. So the Army is standing by to build camps for migrants in a shake-up of the asylum system. Can I just say... Nigel Farage's policy was to use military bases and set up camps. And, again, that was something that Labour called racist, but appears to now be their policy, essentially. But anyway, there you go. Let's just deal very quickly with Michelle Mone. 4 or 5 national newspapers on tomorrow. Give us 122 million quid. Is this fair enough, or is she being unfairly treated?
Well, look, from what I can see that happened here, we had at the height of COVID this VIP lane, sort of all hands on deck, like it's a war scenario, you know, hand over any scrap metal you've got, sort of thing. And that wasn't, in my view, unreasonable. You know, we potentially needed to suddenly lay our hands on a vast amount of kit that we were not expecting some weeks previously. But her partner's company provided 25 million items for this 122 quid, so it's 4 or 5 quid an item, and they were duff. So it strikes me as an open and shut case. If you provide a product or service that isn't up to snuff according to the terms and conditions, you get your money back, right? I mean, if I order a pizza and all I get is an empty cardboard box, I want my money back. So it doesn't strike me as at all surprising. The question is, which is very difficult to discern, is exactly how involved is she in the company? Is she on the hook for this, or does the company just liquidate and written off?
There's a far bigger question to ask here, which is actually the symptom of the bigger problem, which is how reckless government spending can be. I mean, I've seen it myself through the Doge work in the councils. Eye-watering sums of money wasted. I mean, I found out a lot today, actually, and it blew my mind in Lancashire. And I think this is a bigger problem, and there must be so many other companies in this position. It does seem like Rachel Reeves has got it in for Baroness Mone, especially after the speech she did at Labour conference. I just hope the government go after all the companies.
Well, there is a slight difference.
Rachel Reeves said they're going after them. They've managed to claw 400 million back, and this will be another 122 on top of that. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a documentary series, I think it was two-parter, just a few months ago, earlier this year, about Michelle Mone, and goodness me, if you watched it, your hackles would rise, and she is not the sort of woman you would want to have as your chum, put it that way. And at some point, she was interviewed and was told that, well, you've lied about all of this, and she said, well, that's not a crime, you know. So she'd been squirming about this. She was made a baroness by, I think it was Cameron, and sort of literally lauded it about with that, you know, with a yacht and the this and that and the next thing, and
she's fabulously wealthy. I mean,
that's okay. Anybody can be wealthy, but this somehow stuck in the craw.
Just to Jamie's point, which is interesting. Yeah, I mean, I bow to nobody in calling out government waste. Obviously, this was a particular emergency to get extraordinary things done fast. It wasn't just in peacetime and a year-on-year sort of bad procurement. It was emergency procurement.
We're out of time, but not really in a way, because we've got another hour to get through a good, solid set of front pages here. The big ones are that the army is going to be putting up migrant camps, and also the automatic right for refugees to bring their families over could be scrapped. All that and much more. Stay tuned.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A storm is brewing out in the Atlantic. Storm Amy will arrive on Friday night and linger into Saturday morning. In the meantime, largely fine day to come tomorrow across the south like today, whereas further north there will again be a lot of cloud around, still producing outbreaks of rain through the night, especially in western Scotland. Those yellowy colours there suggesting the rain at times will be fairly heavy. Quite breezy here too, but with the cloud and the breeze and the rain, it will be a mild night. Further south with some breaks in the cloud. In rural spots we could dip down to single figures. Could also allow a bit of mist and fog to form for Thursday morning, but that should clear away. The rain, though, is going to linger across western Scotland. Probably not too heavy through the morning, but it will pep up again later in the day. And we do have a Met Office yellow warning in place. The rain really building up through this week. Could cause a bit of disruption, the potential for some flooding. Patchy rain across Northern Ireland initially. That is also going to turn heavier. Most of England and Wales having a cloudy but dry start. As I mentioned, maybe some mist and fog through the morning rush hour, but it should clear away. The rain is going to get heavier through Northern Ireland during the morning and then through the afternoon spread into western Scotland. So again, the potential for some disruption from that wet weather. The Moray Firth may well stay completely dry and the rain will be fairly light and patchy in Edinburgh. England and Wales by and large staying dry, brightening up too with some sunshine. We could see 21 degrees Celsius, but we'll see some rain scooting through England and Wales Thursday night and into Friday, clearing away to reveal something a bit drier for a time. But look at this. This is Storm Amy, bringing rain into the northwest later on Friday, and the winds also continuing to strengthen. A windy night Thursday night, but it gets even windier on Friday night as Storm Amy moves in. Look at the isobars. There's a number of weather warnings in place. Do check out the Met Office warning for details on that. But this storm system could cause some problems into the weekend.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, loads coming your way on Late Edition. The automatic right for refugees to bring their family members over could be scrapped by Sir Keir Starmer, a policy, of course, that he would have campaigned against if he was in opposition. I think we don't all know that, but we do. Also, the other story that's in the Sun is about the army being drafted in to help build migrant camps. Well, why would we need more migrant camps? The migrant crisis is going to stop. And Michelle Mone, as well, is now potentially, or a company linked to her, on the hook for 120-odd million quid for dodgy PPE. Stay tuned.
You
could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News.
Britain's